Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Good afternoon. Hello, JR. JR's first one in the chat today. All right. So we see during the lunch hour. So we had marked up this bearish fair value gap that presented itself just before we went into lunch, and we wanted to see whether the bullish one invalidated itself, which is the much larger one. And so far, I wouldn't say it's invalidated itself, only because where it was created, which came out of this move up. Remember, to validate the breaker, you have to have a break of the low where it pushes lower. And because that price can trade into this wick here and not invalidate the breaker. So to invalidate this breaker, I want to see price break below this wick. And if we fast forward to where price is now, it only made it down to here, which was 18,790. You can see it never traded below. So if we do trade below this wick, then of course, we won't be looking at this bullish breaker as anything at that time. Likewise with the bearish breaker, price traded back in, shot down lower. So hopefully if anyone took that setup, you're able to TP out somewhere down here, but that was only maybe about a 25-point move. So it depends on where your TP was. But when price traded above it here at around 10 after 12, you still had this area up here that created the breaker that price could trade back into to balance. And so again, also this bearish breaker didn't get invalidated there. Now, if we trade above here and create a new high, then a bearish breaker in my eyes would then be invalidated. So right now it's just more of what we saw this morning, where there was a back and forth, highs and lows. It's the way price has been trading. We do have the meeting minutes from FOMC coming at 2 o'clock. That has been shown as a high impact news driver. Go ahead and move my photo there so we can see today, red folder, 2 p.m. FOMC meeting minutes. Yep. Obviously, when the last FOMC meeting happened, there was a press conference following that. So we did get some comments from the members at that time, and the market had responded to it. They wait 2 weeks, they produce the minutes, so you can see exactly what was spoken during that meeting. And sometimes there's another reaction based on what was said, not just what was said during the press conference. So we'll see what that brings. That's in just under an hour. But so far, we've seen trading this morning trade up, create a new all-time high. And then from there, it started to trade lower about 11:15, or actually more like 11 o'clock. It reached a high at 11, consolidated for a while. Around 11:45, we saw it push lower, retrace back up, balance the area here, trade lower once again. If we go over and we take a look at how the other indices also traded during the lunch hour, as well as the dollar, we can see the dollar now is pushing lower. There's a fair value gap just below it, a bullish one. We identified this morning as a potential area where price may want to trade to. At that time, I think we were on this candle, 9 o'clock candle. And at that time, I looked at the retracement. It had reached 50%. And so we could have seen price trade higher up into the bearish fair value gap above. However, we didn't get that. We got one bullish candle. And then following that, now we are on 2 consecutive bearish candles sweeping this low. And then currently, even in the first 8 minutes of this hour, we can see price still pushing lower into the bullish fair value gap there. So that's what's going on with the dollar. We do like to see the inverse relationship with the indices. So we'd like to see a bullish push at this moment. And so far, we're getting it during the first 10 minutes of this hour. However, we do need to continue to monitor the dollar and see how it's reacting in this fair value gap that it's right now pushing into. Not to mention, the Dow and S&P both have bearish fair value gaps above. That has pushed price lower in the previous times that it's traded into them. Now, Nasdaq doesn't have it. Nasdaq, we also discussed this morning, has been the leader as far as being bullish. It's creating highs. It's reluctant to create lows the way that we've seen, like on the S&P, you see these lows being swept. On the Dow, you see lows being swept here as well as over here. And then we just don't see that on the Nasdaq. It put in a low, traded higher, put in a low, traded higher, continue to trade higher, retracement, and then put in a new high for a new all-time high. So far, we've had a retracement, but we haven't swept lows. So let's go ahead and measure this quickly. All right, so we've had a trade down into discount, and now we saw a rejection closing above, and now we're seeing a bullish candle so far in the first 10 minutes of this hour. So I will most likely just hold off taking a position until after the news event at 2, unless something big happens at 1:30 where it's just too obvious as to what the setup is. But otherwise, I'll be waiting until 2 o'clock to see how price looks at that time. But we got about 50 minutes until that comes. And so we'll continue to monitor the dollar to see how the indices may react to that. Pray and trade. What's up? Pray and trade. My name is Sean. All right. See, we got a good group in here so far. Everyone's in pretty early. Hopefully, I'm assuming it's just continuation from the morning group. But if you could hit the like button, that would be amazing early on in these first couple minutes. If we can get a good amount of likes, hopefully YouTube will promote us to other traders and we can fill our room back up. I was off for a little over a week, and then I came back and there's, I don't know if YouTube is not advertising as much for the channel, or some people found other channels to visit, but our numbers are definitely down. Seemed like during the earlier session, those traders who were expressing winning positions this morning, they were mostly scalps. So people were taking 10, 15 points at a time and then exiting their trade. Uh, Thank you, JR. Yeah, I know people, it'll eventually creep back up. I'm sure YouTube was looking at my numbers and saw that they dropped off, and probably the algorithm needs to run another, I don't know, do another analysis and then figure out where to place me in on the priority list. And it's not all the way down. We were probably getting anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 visitors on a daily basis, and now we're at around 800. So, a good 30% of the people have not returned, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time before we get back up to our old numbers. But thank you all for helping me out with the clicking the thumbs up. Take a look at the 15-minute and see if it's a bit cleaner and more clear. Yep. Yeah, I'd be leaning, if I had to lean one direction, I'd lean bullish. Most likely, we had a sweep of this high when it created a new high this morning at 11. That pushed us to external range liquidity there. And we know after that happens, that price likes to then go and seek internal range. So we saw a retracement back in, sweeping these lows, even a deeper retracement back to the 8:30 open during lunch. And so I would lean on the fact that price now wants to push for external range liquidity, whether it's going to be sweeping these equal highs or these equal highs, which will give us a new all-time high. So that's where my bias sits at this moment. Yes, JR, I did. I had a good vacation. It was excellent. I hadn't been home to see my parents and nephews in a little over 2 years. So it was probably the longest I've gone without going back home. And I've seen my parents since then. They came out to visit me, and also we went on a family vacation somewhere else where I also saw them, but I hadn't been home. So it was good to get home. No, I do not host. If you're talking about spaces on Twitter, I do not host any of those. I have not. And Rogers, welcome. I'm not sure I've seen you in chat before. Important part here. We're back into what we marked up before lunch as a bearish breaker on the 1 minute, trading back into that same area right now. We'll see if price wants to trade above it. I would like to see a trade above since I have a bullish bias, but we'll see. And again, anyone who just joined and wasn't on earlier on, I mentioned there's a 2 o'clock news event, high impact news event. And so because of that, I will not be engaged in the market prior to that. Oh, trachologist, what's up? Yeah, I'm going to mark up our session high from lunch. And if anything happens between now and 1:30, I'll adjust it. But just so we know where those levels are. All right, so there goes the levels, and we'll see how price trades and what it looks like for liquidity. Also, let me put up a measurement here for just the lunch range so we can see where we are. Just the lunch high to the lunch low. All right, on this retracement back up, we've already crossed 50%, even crossed 60%. Let me do it the right way, make it easier for you. All right, there we go. So actually, we've crossed 70, up near 78%. Hey, welcome back, Brad. Good afternoon. I'm not sure. I've never looked for, and this is Fieldbird. I've never looked for live releases of the news events, but maybe there is one. I don't know. Probably on CNBC or one of those channels. Bloomberg, Fox Business, one. But you know what? Let's look and see. Let's see if there's something here. Federal Reserve latest release. Okay, so once it's released, I don't know if they're going to do it live, but you can click here if you want to read it. This will be at 2 o'clock. I'm assuming they'll update this website, and you can come in here and you can click and read whatever was on the meeting minutes. So now it probably won't help you during trading because it happens instantaneously. However, after the fact, you can probably come back and read it and see exactly what was there and how that impacted the movement of the market. You're right. It probably is boring, but it's there. Oh, okay. Bloomberg on the website. Awesome. Oh, Squawk Service. I don't think I've ever heard of them. All right. Looks like we have a trend line forming. Let's just move these out of the way since none of them are from the 15-minute time frame. And we've made it to 130, so our lunch high and low are intact. In fact, it looks like we might be somewhere around equilibrium now. Okay, no, not that close. Equilibrium is around 812, so we're getting close. All right, serious. Okay. Yeah, well, it's still early for me, so I haven't had lunch yet. It's just 10:30. I generally don't eat breakfast. Mm. Serious. I don't know if you took the silver bullet this morning, which would have been at 10. Let's see. Let's see what happened. You'd be looking for a fair value gap here. Let's see. There we go. But this would have been the 10 o'clock candle. 10:05. You had a trade here into a fair value gap here after 10. You had a trade right there. You could have taken the entry at 10:06 and a quarter, it looks like. I think so. Yeah, 10:06 and a quarter, and you've been looking for 20 points, so you need an 8:26 and a quarter. Let's see if it made it up there. Let's see, where's this? It went to 18,830, so this gave you more than 20. It gave you almost 24, a little over 24 points. So that would have been your silver bullet today. So I know you say you haven't had a lot of success, but this was the silver bullet for today. You're going to look for anywhere from the 1 minute to the 5 minute and find a fair value gap that you like after 10 o'clock and trade into it. And remember, the fair value gap doesn't have to create after 10. It can be created before. Like this one was created at 9:15. You just want to look for the entry after 10 and before 11. So I just continue back testing, continue practicing, and you should be able to get it to where you're at least able to make some money off of the silver bullet setup. I don't trade that setup any longer, but I used to. Oh yeah, that's true. That would make sense since they've just been running through the roof as far as their value is, and so it makes it difficult for investors to come in with such a high stock price. Oh man, look at this meltdown here. Okay, let's jump over and look at how everyone's trading since we just saw a big reaction here. All right, we can start over on the far left with the dollar. Dollar's pushing higher. It bounced, so it did open up this hour push down into the fair value gap, and we wanted to see how that reaction was. And now we can see it was a bullish reaction. Looks like it's already taken out the high of lunch, or close to the lunch high. Okay. And if we look over at our indices, they all have swept lunch lows. We got it on the Dow. We got it over on an S&P. And we finally did get it on the NQ. NQ was the only one that was holding out. It even traded below the fair value gap that's below here. That was created at about 7 o'clock this morning. Still didn't sweep a swing low, however. So on the hourly, still bullish. We have a sweep of lows on S&P. However, this would be the one that would need to be swept if there's going to be a market structure shift on S&P. We need to sweep below 53.28. Another trend line we'll need to see broken if price wants to continue lower. It will switch back over 20 minutes until news. It is from 2 to 3, but we're not there yet. Right now, it's 141 serious. So I was showing you from this morning, the silver bullet. But from 2 to 3, yeah, it hasn't happened yet. All right, Sad, good job. Way to get that. Got in at 8:13. Okay, sweet. Look who's back. What's going on, Queen? Track, you're right about that. Just in time, manipulate things. Wait, about 10 minutes before the event happens. Just give me one moment. Just need to close the door. Yep. Yeah, I know. And I've been looking at the weekly candle ever since we closed on Monday, and we don't have a down wick. So I was thinking that we probably end up later in the week once we get some news. Um, put that down wick in, meaning we would be bearish for the remainder of the week. But we'll see if that works out or how that happens. But we'll see what the news brings us in about 10 minutes. But I have noticed that when we put in a new all-time high, there's almost an immediate rejection every time. Almost as if there's no reason for us to be putting in a new all-time high. So there aren't any sustained rallies. Mm-hmm. Yep. Miss Goody in the Dow once again. Yeah, same here, Ray. I took one demo trade this morning, and luckily that one everything worked out well for it. But yeah, I don't see anything going on. Full moon today. All right. TJ said it's a full moon. That means we're shorting. Yep. Still got another 5 minutes before the news event is announced. Mm. Yeah, that's tough, right? Maybe after 2:30, it'll be a little cleaner. I'll see. Hello. Good afternoon. So TJ, looks like we're gonna have a full moon from the 23rd, and then its third quarter is May 30th. So for that week, are we looking at we're looking at bearish conditions for the week, or are you just the full moon day? Hey, Skylar, welcome. Only the week, okay. All right, so the 30th is a week from tomorrow. All right, and I think there's limited trading on Monday because of Memorial Day. So until this time next week, possibly look for bearish conditions. If we do get significant bearish action continuing this afternoon, the daily fair value gap that it could trade into would be at 18,633. 18,633 for a daily bullish fair value gap. It's our lunch low from today has been traded to already. We still have the lunch low from yesterday still open at 734. Final minute before news. Let's see, down to 3 minute, down to the 1 minute. Getting a bullish breaker here. I would like to see it form down here inside of a fair value gap, but we'll see. All right, there we go, much better. Okay, so it made an equal low with yesterday's lunch low. It did not trade through it yet. No, TJ, it has not failed since. Ever since you've been mentioning a full moon brings on bearish conditions, it has not failed. Well, Queen, as you plan your vacations, make sure you look at the moon cycle so you never plan a vacation on the week of a full moon. All right, consequent encroachment of a 4-hour fair value gap here. Over 100 handles from the bearish breaker. Okay. Oh, the 1 minute one. Yep. From just before lunch. Oh, the report was bad. Got it. So they are not going to cut rates. Is that what that is? Yep. I didn't, Molly. Been sitting on my hands as well. Queen definitely was in. I'm assuming TJ was in as well since he liked shorts. Hey, that was because of the news. That really wasn't a macro you would have wanted to trade. Just like in the morning when there's 10 o'clock news, you don't want to trade the 9:50 to 10 and 10 macro. All right, let's get rid of yesterday's low since that's been traded to already. All right, just like we had the highs this morning that were still open, we finally traded to those, but now the lunch high has not been traded to yet. We traded past counts for an encroachment on a 4-hour fair value gap. We also have the 1 hour, which is the darker area at the top, and several more below. We have New York low from yesterday or Monday. Monday. Yep, pray and trade. Nvidia is aftermarket, and sometimes what we see when there's aftermarket news coming, just like today when we saw some volatility before the 2 o'clock event, we saw it around 140, 145. A lot of times we see the same thing when there's after hours news coming. We'll see the 350 to 410 time period, that last macro of the day. We see that being a little more volatile than usual. So we may see that today as well. Um, So the next couple of hours will be quite interesting. We have the rest of the 2 o'clock hour coming, or we're in now. We also have power hour. And at the end of power hour, we have potentially some fireworks because of NVIDIA announcing results after hours today. So should be an exciting 2 hours. We got about, right at 2 hours remaining till 410. And we'll see if we get any setups between now and then. That's true, Queen. It could be the 1 minute. That could be the 1 minute silver bullet. We'll see. Dollar is still pushing higher. Retest the fair value gap once again. Got a big rejection last time, but we'll see how things go this go around. I know price usually likes to hit 50% at least to balance that price range. However, in a lot of cases, it continues to go. This is more of a whipsaw rejection, but then price continues on and eclipses the low. So we'll just wait for a bit and see where price wants to go here. Generally, when I see red folder events, I wait for half hour for price to settle in before looking for setup. So in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll see if we still see a strong impulse to push price lower, or if we see that starting to fade a bit. The dollar at the present moment is still pushing hard. It's at its high of the hour and looking potentially for the high of the day, which was achieved at about 6 or 7 this morning. Yeah, I think. Let me see. It was some weird time when I look, Ray. It wasn't like a normal time that, or at least for me, it wasn't. Okay. No, actually, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is midnight. So midnight tomorrow. Yep. Midnight tomorrow is the last day to get those. So anybody interested in prop firm funding? Right now, Apex is running a special where the 250,000 evaluation account costs the same as a 50,000 account. So it's you can get quite a bit more funding for a low price if you feel you're ready and you've been practicing long enough, or you've already been funded and you know that you can do it. That is available. There are links in the description for both Topstep and Apex if you're interested in either of those prop firms. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the activation fee is also been reduced. Thank you. Thanks, Track, for that. Appreciate it. All right, Ray. We got a little pause in action here. Let's reset our comparison chart here and take a look just to see how everything is faring. All right, so if we start with the dollar, all right, so it did take that high. So the high from this morning, dollar's made a new high for the day. Okay, no fair value gaps until up at 105. Okay, yeah, I think we did talk about this morning. There's a fair value gap at 105 flat that I thought it might trade to and then maybe look for lower prices. But as far as the Dow is concerned, the Dow has now traded into, oh, wow, deep retracement into the fair value gap here, much lower than the consequent encroachment. S&P similarly, there's a fair value gap below, so it probably has a little bit of ways to go, but it has swept yesterday's low. Likewise, we had a sweep of yesterday's low for the Dow as well. Now, what we haven't seen is that same level swept on NQ. That's down here at 678. 678 is the level, and it has not been taken. So we, at the current moment, have S&P between the pairs here. Right. So yesterday's low was swept at 7 a.m. for the Dow. Swept last hour. Well, take that back. This hour. It was swept this hour for S&P, and again, Nasdaq. We still haven't gotten there. And so I'll flip back over, and we'll see if on the next half hour or so, if NQ continues to push lower and wants to sweep that low, or if it protects that low and just trades in the range here. Yeah, no, it just seems unlikely, especially since it's traded all the way through the fair value gap. Now, if it got hung up at consequent encroachment, then I might favor that it wouldn't run to 678. But the fact that it's traded, I mean, 95% of the fair value gap already. Yeah, I don't see how it doesn't go down and get 678. If there are any levels below that has not been traded to. Didn't really see a lot of levels that need to be traded to. So we'll check again once we make it down past this 678 level, which would then end the S&T and bring it in line with the other two indices trading lower. We do have macro coming in about 10 minutes, so that may shed some light on where price is going next. Ms. Goody, I do not know. I don't have an opinion on what NVIDIA is going to do. I've not been following them closely, but I do know a lot of their, I guess a lot of the momentum they have is behind their involvement in the forward movement of AI. Look at the 1 minute and see if there's anything there. Nope, just stair step down. Small little consolidation here. Maybe it'll trade here and then lower. 731. Anyway, we have another 5 minutes before we get to the next macro, so we'll stay on the 5 minute for the next candle, and then we'll switch. – 8 to 10% up or down. Okay. Yeah, TJ, I think it's after close. All right, Molly, catch you tomorrow. Molly's done. Ray is done. 1 minute bullish breaker. Okay. Yeah, I grabbed the 15-second one. So I had a feeling this candle here, I saw it before it, well, as it was happening. It was right here on the 15-second. Confirm right here at 2:46 and 45 seconds. Would you say on the 1 minute? Just stretch it a little higher. And 2:47, so the next minute it got confirmed. I haven't had a trade back into it yet, but it's confirmed. And we're now into the macro. I'll label this just so we all understand which time frame that's on. Oops. Make it larger. There we go. Uh, okay. Yeah, the green box, these green boxes are fair value gaps, bullish fair value gaps. If you're not familiar with fair value gaps, it's if you look at this candle here, you see how the next candle doesn't have a wick that comes down, and the previous candle, the wick that comes up, the wicks do not overlap. If there's no overlapping wicks, then you get what we call a fair value gap, and you draw a green box from here to here, and it goes there. So the larger ones that you see, these are fair value gaps on the 1 hour time frame. I try not to draw them on the small time frame like this. This is a 1 minute, so I try not to draw them on the 1 minute unless they happen to be inside of a breaker. The blue box are breaker blocks. Should be here. It should be here. There we go. The ones you see on the 1 hour are coming from, and this is for Josie. The ones on the 1 hour are coming from an indicator called FVG, Nephew Sam. And I just select the 1 hour time frame for it to show the 1 hour time frame, no matter which time frame I switch to. So I'm on the 1 minute now. So you'll see me switch back to the 5 minute, the 3 minute, 15 minute, but it always shows me the 1 hour fair value gaps because that's the one that I find important. And if price will retrace back down during this 20-minute macro between 250 and 310, we have about 10 minutes left. Just reading what you wrote, Queen. Jesus Christ. Brian Stonk. Oh, if the gap got filled on, okay, I see. Trading Lounge. Appreciate that. Man, if only TJ. I'm not saying they don't, but it's peanuts. Yeah, it's about $1.50 an hour. Mm. All right, still no retracement yet. Here, no impulse in there. These were the only ones. These two give you a nice impulse, but these not much. So I wouldn't expect the rally to last much longer. And on top of that, long wicks, so there are 0 fair value gaps mixed in. All right, let's move up to the 5 minute. We are getting close to the end of the macro and can't say that a lot has occurred. All right, appreciate that, Ray. We'll look at 746 when we get up there and see if that's where price hits a sweet spot that it wants to turn around with. Look at 15. right, let's see if in this final hour of trading, we can get a push towards the midnight open. Another minute on this 5-minute candle here. Trading back into the range. We'll see if the next candle, once it opens in just over a minute, if that candle then reaches for these equal highs. $7.09 to get long. Oh, track. There you go. All right, Queen. Catch you tomorrow. Thanks again for joining. I know you were busy this afternoon, but I appreciate you jumping back on. Oh, Brad, I tell you, you have that itch that must be scratched. All right, so we can see what this looked like on the 1 minute. All right, so we had a trade down. The body stayed above consequent encroachment, which is a good sign. The next one opened up, tiny little wick of maybe a couple ticks. And then we have trade higher than this previous candle at 319. Let's see if we can now get these equal highs and these equal highs up around 740. I like breakers to go for 25 points, which is why I set this long tool up with the entrance right at the tip of the breaker. So 25 points is 736 and a half. So far, the wick has gone to the edge of the fair value gap, but it hasn't broken out yet. So we'll see if it breaks out. There it is. Okay, so at least it broke out. Let's see if these equal highs go next. These right here at 736 and a half. That also would validate a long out of the breaker for 25 points for anyone who did take that entry. Oh, track, you got filled at 700. Good job. All right, so there it is. It did deliver the 25 points. Track, you got in at 700, so you're up 35 points or more. And I mentioned these equal highs around 738. So it did take those equal highs as well. Looking around for other sets of equal highs, looks like we have one at 759. That's a good ways away. So let's look and see what else we have. 742. Yep, 742 and 759. All right, James, take care. Catch you on the next one. If you're leaving, but if you're staying, then then yeah, disregard. Another entry point B if you didn't take that one. I don't know. We've been waiting for that one since here. It got confirmed here. So some people just took a market execution and they ran it up here. But if you waited for it to come back, then we only got in at 319 from a setup that confirmed at 247. Let's see what else. Let's see if we can get a continuation from here. Now in this one, you might want to wait until consequent encroachment here at 727. Only made it to 730 so far. Didn't quite make it there. Let's see, anyone who took the edge and didn't take the center marking. Yeah, you're looking at 762, which is just above. When I call out 759 as the target, these equal highs. Your best entry is always the original one. So we'll see if this one works out. If it's able to trade back to this center line here, and if find support as well and not continue lower. All right, Brad, take care. Yeah, I think some people just need to discover us. Others, I think, need to match their expectation with what's real. I don't know. I don't know why there aren't more people here, but that's on them. All right, so it looks like we're not going to get that consequent encroachment entry, but I'm sure some people took an entry somewhere in here. And now we'll see if 25 points are delivered as well. Ray did mention earlier to watch out for this level, 746. So this is something we do want to pay attention to see if price wants to turn around. And that's because on the hourly time frame, 746 prevents a fair value gap. So the down wick from 1 o'clock is now being matched with the up wick from 3 o'clock. So keep that in mind if you're in a long entry. You're in with multiple contracts. If you're looking for a place to take partials, you can do it anywhere where we are now. But another place would be right here at 759. Well, let's see if it pushes through and hit the 762 level. All right, there's another one. And look at it run. There was another equal high at 784. It's just 1 or 2 points away from it. Okay, track. Let me see, where'd you get in at? You got filled at 700. Okay, so you hit 717. Okay, so you secured at least 17 points. Got it. Yep, if price returns down here but wants to continue higher, yeah, around that area, I would say the lowest it'll go is 715. But then again, you're already up at 775, so I wouldn't want to see it come back to 715. Oh, good job, JR. Way to go. Okay, Dorsey, I know you may have closed early, but if you closed at where you originally wanted to close at, you gotta find us. You gotta find happiness in that and not have FOMO. 750. There you go. That's much better. Let's go back up to the 5 minute here. All right, we got about 30 minutes left. If you're finding value in the session today, hit the like button, please. Hopefully that'll get YouTube to suggest us to a few more traders before we close out the session today. Again, NVIDIA is going to announce after session, but sometimes when there's announcements after session between 350 and 410, we see a nice impulsive move. And so we may get that today. And so hopefully we can get a few more traders in the room before that happens. All right. Anyone currently in trades, keep in mind we are in a 1 hour bearish fair value gap here. We've already reached equilibrium or consequent encroachment during the last candle. And mark that up. That's where you can sometimes see things turn around. So what we're going to do is I'm going to drop to a lower time frame. We're going to look and see if there's a bearish fair value gap. I'm sorry, a bearish breaker block setting up. So consequent encroachment was at 18,780. Okay, nothing on the minute. Even on the lower time frames, nothing yet. All right, so we'll go back to the 5 minute. I have a couple more screens here that I have access to, so I'll just monitor it on a different screen, and if something pops up, I'll let you know. All right, Captain. Good job. I'm glad you were able to get something. 774 track. Good job. Okay. All right, track. Yeah, but also more than putting some equipment together, you need to start putting banking some of that profit. So that's good that you were able to get what's that, 74 handles. Kate Dorsey, no, I'm not going to do NVIDIA earnings. The reason is if you trade with prop firms, you have to close your trade by 10 after 4. You can't trade until the closing bell at 4:59. It doesn't allow you to do that. So no, I won't be streaming that. Yeah, I noticed a lot of traders. It's a measuring contest. Everyone likes to pat themselves on the back, and I just felt like if you're making a ton of money and you're pretty wealthy, there's really no need or reason to talk about it to others. Just be happy that you have it, enjoy your life with it, and if you want to share some knowledge and educate others, then do that as well. But um, chasing the pat on the back is probably not the best thing. But everyone has their own style. Thank you, Eagle. Mhm. All right, so we had a sweep of a swing high here. Let me take this line down. This swing high, so we traded above it, closed above, and now we see the retracement. Retracement in a lot of cases will come back to the last swing high that was just taken. So not this one, this is the one that was recently taken. So we'll trade back to the one that was before, which is here. We traded up and closed above here, but the next candle continued up as opposed to trading back down. So let's see if we get a push higher from this level. It can come from either the high here, or I'm going to say the high here. So let's look for that area. Oh, okay. I didn't realize with Apex you can trade until 4:59. I wasn't aware of that. But yeah, definitely on Top Step you have to get out by 10 after. Hmm. Oh, so Apex lets you swing trade as well. You can hold over until the next session. Yeah, track. I used to watch another trader as well on YouTube, and that also helped me learn what patience really was, and how to really look for your setup and not bend your rules. Now I still bend my rules from time to time just because I'm human, but I definitely learned to be more patient by watching another trader, and that really taught me what patience was. Because otherwise, you don't really know. Um, Most traders, you don't actually see trade. You see them talk to you about setups, but you don't actually see them watching the charts and then saying, nope, this looks 90%, but it's not it. Let's wait. Like you don't generally see that. Okay, TJ, you say no, no overnights. Got it. All right, pray and trade. All right, so we dipped below, but we kept our body inside of that area I was talking about. In fact, we put a body right on top of this wick of this candle, 1515. And let's see if we get a push here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was thinking of holding it from 1459 all the way until 1800. But okay. Yeah. I figured they wouldn't let you hold that one. But that's cool. The Apex let you hold your trade open until 1659. All right, so it only gave about 15 points, it looks like. Okay, it finally tapped into that 50% mark that we didn't get earlier before the push up. Oh, I didn't realize we were in a macro. Completely forgot about that. All right, it's 3:50 now. So we'll see what the next 20 minutes brings. Obviously, NVIDIA announcing their results later on are going to have a huge impact on the market. We'll see if any of that happens beforehand. Sometimes there's like these, not necessarily pre-market announcements, but there's some pre-market movement. And so we're just looking to see if we get that. We didn't get a closure below the breaker here. We got a wick below, body still inside. So if we get another closure above, then we look and see if that, if this breaker here will work once again, push price back up into the bearish fair value gap. We do need a closure above though. Looks like maybe we should have been a little more aggressive in entering as it was coming down. Yeah. Forget sometimes when we're at the very end of the day that price won't have enough, it may not have enough time to come back, do a retest, and then go. Um, which barrier breaker I think will be respected? Let's see, Jonathan. I'm trying to think if there's a breaker that I felt like would be disrespected, because this one here is below. So once we trade above, then I'm not expecting this to come back down if we have a breaker here. Do you have do you have an example you're talking about, Jonathan? All right, Wale will catch you. Or are you talking about fair value gaps? And I really only found this second breaker because after the first one took off, someone mentioned, they asked, or actually it took off here. Someone asked and said, okay, where would another entry be? So I went and found another one. But normally I wouldn't have been looking for a second breaker. I would have just used the original. But one thing I look for, Jonathan, and that's why when I showed earlier that I have a fair value gap indicator, I leave it on the 1 hour, because I'm in the here in the bullish fair value gap on the 1 hour. I'm looking for a bullish breaker to form in here. And so that's how I gain confidence that it's going to hold, because it's not only just a breaker here, but it's also a 1 hour fair value gap. So I look for those two things to marry up in the same position. You probably heard me when we were moving down and I was looking for a breaker, and I think I drew one. I think I drew a breaker here and I was waiting for it to confirm. And then I mentioned, I said, but actually I would prefer it to form down here inside the fair value gap. And then it broke lower and I said, okay, good. Now let me just reposition where I think the breaker is. And so as price was moving, I was just shifting the breaker down. It never came back and confirmed by closing above, but it broke lower again. So then I just kept shifting it down until we got to a point to where I had a breaker drawn and it traded above and closed. But even here, it traded lower again. And so that's when I moved it and settled on this one as the breaker. But that's how I decide whether I'm going to trust it to hold, is based on it also having a fair value gap there. Now, that's not 100%, but that does increase the odds. And that's also why when we get up here, I start looking to see if there's going to be a bearish breaker that's going to send price lower. If it doesn't form one and price breaks through, then no harm, no foul. We continue. We look for a continuation trade. Or if we're in a trade already, we hold. Eagle Vision. Good job, Eagle. All right. See, now we done broke through this fair value gap. Now it closed just now. So this was an hourly fair value gap. Then you saw it just disappeared because now the hour is over and it closed above it. So now we don't have any issues about being bearish. Now we're looking for bullish momentum, because there's nothing above us holding us back on the hourly time frame. Granted, we do have only a little bit of price action above us because we are in a area where there's the all-time high. But this is the kind of movement you get when, especially when Nvidia is going to announce. Nvidia, Apple, Meta, any of those big players on Nasdaq, when they announce, we see this kind of price action from 350 to 410. Right, it just moved 100 points in about 10 minutes, roughly, a little bit less. Let's see, the high on this candle is 818.75. We got as low as 715. So yeah, 103 points. Forgot I even had this trend line up here. Let's go to the 5-minute. You can see we've recovered everything from the FOMC drop. This is what 2 o'clock is. Yep, this down candle here. But even before the news was announced, we had some pretty energetic move to the downside, starting around just after 1:30, and we've recovered all of that in the last 30 minutes or so. The midnight open has been reached. When we started 3 o'clock, I made a comment. I said, let's see if we can push towards the midnight open during this hour. And so now we've achieved that at 18,810. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get a lot over the next several minutes. But I don't know what time NVIDIA is going to announce. I don't know if it's 4:30 or if it's after 5. But yeah, this almost looks like a market maker buy model here, where we had it settle in at the bottom, created a short-term high, traded above it, retraced, took out the next high, retraced, and final area. Got almost there, a couple points away. But sometimes it'll just come and get, like, if you look at a swing, it'll take the right candle and it'll take the candle body. And it got that by just 1 or 2 ticks. This out. Anyone who's going to be trading a little bit later, just make sure you're aware of this potential bearish breaker here on the 15-second, where the midnight open is also consequent encroachment. We had a high to a low, traded higher, and now it's trading lower. We'll see if it closes lower. If it does, you want to be aware of this right here, this formation, just in case it's a hindrance to higher prices and it starts pushing lower. And what makes this breaker a unicorn is right here. We got a fair value gap. Okay, now it's going to trade back to it and we'll see if it falls from there. I mean, it did trade lower a little lethargically. It didn't do it with a lot of speed, which I would like to see, but that doesn't mean it won't work. All right, any final questions before we end our session this afternoon? Again, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't already. NVIDIA is at 420. Okay, thanks, Ray. So only about 10 more minutes. I'm not sure, Wale. I don't know if trading at the end of the day is the directive, but it does seem to work out sometimes. think we don't have any additional questions or anything. Okay, look at that. Great. It's already pushed down about 12 points or so. Nope, 13, 14 points already. All right, everyone. I don't see any additional questions or anything or comments, so I will end the session here. Thank you all for being here. Hope you had a good session. I hope you're able to catch a win or two, or at least understand why price was moving the way it was. And we'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 9:15. Hope to see you there. And if not, tomorrow afternoon, 1300. Take care, everyone. Have a good evening. See you next time.